What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the My Time Podcast. I'm your host, Sunny Mai, and I know it's been a while since we last done an episode. It's probably been 2-3 weeks now, but we've been busy, huh? As a team, Rip, would you say?
Yeah, pretty busy, man.
Super busy, man.
Awesome new stuff coming out.
Yep.
All of that.
And speaking of that, our guest here today for the 11th episode, I can't believe we're on the 11th episode already, man.
11 already?
Rip Daman.
What's up, boys?
How you doing? Welcome to the show,
Good,
bro.
man.
Awesome. I really want to get you on today because you're one of the youngest guys in the office. May not look like it.
I know, with the beard.
May not look like it, but how old are you, man?
19. No, I'm playing. I'm 21.
Yeah, but when you joined here, you weren't even 21, right?
No, I was 19.
You were 19, bro?
Yeah, I was 19 when I joined.
Mm-hmm.
But I had the beard before because I was like, if I get into this, I gotta look older.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. So that's why I really want to bring you on, kind of learn from you what were the advantages, disadvantages, pros and cons of all that, being one of the younger guys in the office, and kind of pick your brain, about your business the past couple years.
Definitely.
Let's do it. Well, first of all, who is Rip Daman? What did you do before real estate, bro?
So before real estate, I just got into college, so for
Nice.
business admin, I used to resell a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
I used to do some other stuff too, but mainly reselling. Did some day trading.
Okay.
A little bit of trucking with my dad. So a few things.
So you always had an appetite to try new things, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was always bigger and better, Mm-hmm. But the thing was, I never wanted to work under anyone.
Okay.
Mainly self-employed, so real estate was perfect, I guess.
Awesome. And speaking of that, how did you stumble upon real estate and ultimately power?
So real estate, my dad told me to get my license since I was 16, right?
Okay.
And so I did the courses when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have got my license literally probably a week after I turned 18, if I'm being honest. But
yeah.
I got lazy. I ended up doing it when I was 19. And then for power, me and two of my boys used to own a marketing agency.
Okay.
And so we came here trying to basically sell them leads, the Power Real Estate Group, and we ended up getting recruited.
Oh, so it was the other way around?
Yeah.
That's great. Who'd you approach?
It was someone in the office before, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then they brought you in, you sat down, and ultimately you were like, I want to give this thing another shot.
Yeah, I got.
You got. So you had your real estate license, but you didn't do anything with it until you stumbled across this office, basically.
No. So basically, when we came here, I didn't have my license, but I had everything done for it. I was waiting for my test date.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, once you get your license, because they showed me, they have a bunch of leads, good training.
Yeah.
They were like, once you get your license, come on in. So the day I got my license, I'm pretty sure I came here first week, or I think the first day I was here, I made 300-400 calls. I was just cranking at it.
Yeah. But you came from a sales and marketing background already, right?
A little bit, yeah, because I was always trying some new stuff like drop shipping. We were trying that marketing company, so a few things.
Would you say that kind of helped accelerate your growth here because you didn't necessarily learn everything from scratch?
I think yes, because we had the mentality of we got to go out and get it, right? So we got to earn people's business. We got to know how to talk to them, be persuasive. So I think that definitely helped hit the ground running.
Nice. Awesome, man. So give us an overview of what your real estate business has been like 2, almost 3 years now, right? Or
yeah, I'm about to hit 2 years next month.
Damn, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. But yeah, what has the numbers been like for you, man?
Man, so so far I think I'm on I've closed 19 or 20.
Nice.
And I have like 3 or 4 closing this month too. And then hopefully opening one today. So the numbers have been pretty good, at first it wasn't like that. I think it took me almost 3 months to get my first deal going to help out my first family.
Yeah.
But then after that was a little bit more consistency, maybe once every month, once every other month. And then towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year, it's been consistently 2, 3, sometimes even 4 a month. So I'm just trying to keep the momentum going. So I'm dry out.
There's really not a lot to it, right? Once you learn follow a boss, all the different systems, the MLS, how to use Ignite, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's really about just staying organized after that point.
Literally, that's what it is. Just staying organized and on top of your shit. Make the calls. Follow up with the clients.
Yeah.
Always hit at bats, right? So prospect for new people.
Yep.
You get 100 people that are maybe, guaranteed at least a few of them are going to turn into a yes, right? So it's always having, consistent business flowing, because you're not looking for the now business, you're looking for the future business. That way you don't
Exactly.
go dry throughout the whole year.
That's awesome, man. That's a great tip right there on, building momentum and staying consistent, which is something I was going to talk to you about later on too. No worries, bro. But one of the things I wanted to ask you, man, is what have been some of the pros and cons you found that, being in your early 20s, being in the industry, with older people?
I mean, pros. I mean, I'm getting started early, definitely for my future, making, pretty decent right now, I'd say. And that's going to, help propel where I want to be in, 5 years, 10 years, right? So I'm glad I started early. And I'm building my book of business, right? The goal isn't to be a real estate agent forever, only for a few years, and then, make enough money to put it somewhere else, invest in other things, do flips, things like that. So I think it's helping me get started early on where, I'm working hard right now. That way, later on, I don't have to necessarily put in all the legwork I'm doing right now, right? I'm still young. I still got a healthy body. So I'm like, why not do it right now? I don't want to be, no offense, but 40, 50, 60 years.
Doing this for 20, 30 years, right?
Yeah. Why are you still in age?
Exactly, man. You staying way too long for that, bro. Yeah. But, so that's super awesome, man. So you really don't think it's an objection at all? People ask you how old you are or any of that stuff because of the way you carry yourself or anything like that?
Yeah, cons. Sorry, I forgot to touch on that. But cons, I've had people ask me my age, and when I tell them, they're like, "What the hell?" They're kind of confused. Dude, you're 20, or when I was 20, 19, they're like, "What the hell?" They would be pretty. They would be pretty surprised, but at that point, I already built a good rapport with them.
Yeah.
I showed them that I knew what I was talking about. I can give them the proper guidance.
Yep.
And they still worked with me, which is good. But I think I definitely do still look younger.
Yeah.
Which is a con. Some people may not want to work with me. I haven't really.
And that's totally okay, right? You only obviously want to work with the people that want to work with you.
Yeah, if you don't want to work with me, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
It's I'm not going to force it.
Exactly, man. And I think that's how you come out really authentic, right? You get invited to your clients' parties, concerts, sporting events. Tell us about some of that, man, the relationship you've been able to build with your clients.
Yeah, so, I always like to, so my philosophy is I don't necessarily see them, see people that I help as clients. I try to, make them friends because at the end of the day, you're trusting me with, the biggest purchase of your life.
Yep.
I want to be more of a friend with you, guide you through the journey, pop some bottles at the end, drink a few beers, Shout out Mr. Wu.
Shout out Mr. Wu.
Shout out Mr. Wu. Coolest guy ever, swear to God. He took me out to Lakers, Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Pitbull.
Pitbull. I was about to say, did you guys went to a Pitbull concert?
Yeah, no, super dope clients, man, friends.
Yeah.
I should say, right, again. I've been invited to housewarming parties.
Yeah.
And it's always really nice, even dinners with clients. Sometimes we'll kick it on a Sunday or a Saturday.
Nice.
Right, so I like to keep a relationship pretty healthy.
Yeah.
It's not with everyone. Some people are a little bit more
straight to the point, numbers,
straight
all
to
that
the
kind
point,
of stuff.
And that's totally okay. I'm not gonna force a relationship, but with the people that do, I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
That not only do they trust me, but they gave me the opportunity to, still be a friend to them.
So how would you teach that to a new agent coming in, who's not super confident in themselves, their craft yet, and they're still trying to learn the basic, but not because a lot of them they're reading scripts. I'm sure you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
They're more focused on the script, the words, instead of getting to know the person, finding out about what they like, what they don't like, and stuff. What advice would you have for those kind of agents?
I mean, so it's not really Jose Samano said, it's not in the script, it's in the drip, right?
It's in the drip.
So when it comes to knowing scripts, it's good too, but always you want to be able to incorporate yourself into it, right? So making it super authentic. When I go to, when I meet someone for the first time, my objective isn't to sell them that home, right? I'm trying to sell myself to them, right? Hey, this home's overpriced, man. I'm looking at the comps right now.
Yeah.
So I'm really selling myself as I'm giving them value. I'm guiding them. I'll tell them if it's a bad deal, if it's a good deal, right? Find out what offers there are. So providing that value to them. For a new agent coming in to be able to really build that confidence, I think it's just, really knowing your stuff. If you
the reps, right?
Yeah, if you do the reps, if you know what you're talking about, then it's confidence because you know what you're talking about.
Exactly. I think it's just getting over that learning curve as quickly as possible. Because
Yeah.
everyone at one point, first cold call, first comps, first listing packet, preparing.
It's scary.
First buyer presentation. There's a first for everything they're gonna do, right?
And you're always gonna fuck up on the first try,
Yeah.
So it's always you putting in those reps, constantly practicing.
Yeah.
Practice with the people in the office. Like, hey, can I practice like showing homes with you?
Exactly.
Things like that. So I think just getting those reps in. That way, when you're out in the field, it's like you're good.
Yeah. And on a side note, where I am at right now, I'm training up, as you know, Jason, sitting outside right now. My newest prodigy. Shout out Jason, right? But basically, what Jeff and Jose taught me too is like he's gonna fuck up. Like you can trust him with shit, but he's gonna fuck up. And that's just part of it, right? That's how he's gonna learn and stuff.
That's literally part
of
the.
Like, don't you think like we hand you leads and we know you're gonna fuck them up too, like kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
So adopting that same mentality, don't hold on, right? Be a micromanager,
Yeah.
right? And just kind of trusting, right, the process and trusting the training and everything.
I think you're supposed to make mistakes. You're gonna learn from them.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
No.
So kind of want to ask, going back to momentum. I would say you are one of the best guys in the office at building momentum, right? So what would you say is the secret to building momentum, and is that something you can teach other people?
I think teach. Okay, sort of. So I think just putting in the reps. Always do the same thing. Every single week. Always bring in new business, right? That way you're building momentum for the next few months to come.
Yeah.
Because everyone says like, I'm going to have a bad month because I didn't work hard last month, right? And that's where it really carries on. But to build momentum, I think it's constantly picking up calls, making calls, always being active, right? Like, I think I'm putting in like 60 hours a week right now just to keep the momentum going. Obviously, I'm going to chill out a little bit, once we get deeper into the summer. But yeah, just being consistent and building it early on to keep it, flowing. And
to get down to the nitty-gritty of it, I think what you're also meaning is like, staying consistent with the cold calling, picking up leads, right? Don't get paused. I think those activities, they compound as momentum, would you say?
Yeah, don't get paused. It's easy to not get paused. Like 15 convos is pretty easy.
Yeah, and Jeff was talking about earlier too with the big group before role play, how you probably one of the only guys consistently getting BRBCs in the office. What would you say is your process, to doing that?
I mean, honestly,
with all the things changing, right? That's an important skill right now to have.
Yeah, I'm usually like I explain it to the clients. Like if we're gonna write an offer, or I try to bring them in for a buyer's consult, educate them on the process. Like that BRBC is very crucial because you may or may not know, August the laws are changing. But like in being consistent in that, it's just explaining it to the client. Like, hey, this is something that basically you're employing me, right? You're hiring me to be able to fight for you to get a good deal. This is the contract that we have. It's exclusive, and we're gonna work together for a few months. So I think just bringing it up early on, and then also like, especially when you're writing offers, definitely explain it, because that is kind of like, what holds you on.
Yeah.
Don't force anyone to work with you, but at least have that. That way you're able to fight for your compensation, right?
Nice.
How are you going to negotiate for a client if you can't negotiate for yourself to get, more commission?
Yeah. So it sounds like you have the confidence to explain your process. You have the same process for every single client.
Not the same. I think it's like, comes up at different times. They're writing an offer, or they come in beforehand.
That's true.
Buyer's consult. So, same process as in like, I'll
so you're combining hard skills and soft skills at the same time, basically, right?
Basically.
Oh, that's gangster, bro.
Yeah,
so like, your process, kind of like A plus B equals C kind of thing, right? We'd write an offer, we do a BRBC, we're gonna get your offer accepted. But then you're also like smart enough to know that like, hey, like I shouldn't go too fast on this guy, like take a step back with this guy and let it marinate and stuff like that.
Yeah, like everyone's going at their own pace. Like especially with real estate, it's like it's scary. There's a bunch of papers. There's like 27 pages in the RPA. Right. Like it's a lot of reading, and when you throw a contract in front of someone, it's like it's pretty daunting. Like, am I signing my life away? Like, But yeah, I think just working at their pace, getting them more acclimated to work with you, right? So they feel more comfortable with you. It's not necessarily like, hey, sir. It's more like, what's up, bro?
Depending on the person too, right?
Yeah, depending on the person, obviously, but. And just getting them more comfortable with you, that's when you bring it up of like, hey, we've been working
really
together.
Good,
I want to make sure, I'm able to fully represent you.
Yeah. So part of momentum is obviously following up, right? What is some of like the best follow-up practice that you see working right now?
I mean, usually for me, it's like I have a task set for every single person.
Okay.
It's like they didn't pick up today. Okay, call them in 3 days. Call them in 3 days. Call them in 3 days, right? Until it's like, if they're not picking up ever, then obviously I'm going to dump them. But I think consistently setting those tasks like to follow up with them.
Yeah.
And making sure that every single person you have that for, right? Because you got to know what's the next step. Like, 3 days, call and see if they want to tour stuff this weekend. Always having like a next step, because you're slowly moving along the ladder, right? They're slowly going up into the purchase. So I think always like setting up next steps for the client. Like, hey, I'm gonna call you in a few days.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call you Wednesday evening, same time, just to discuss, some of the homes I sent you, or a little bit more about your criteria after you check them out, right? So always letting the client know up front about what you're gonna call them for, and that way they have the expectation.
So always lay out the next step, and do what you say you're gonna do. Obviously, right?
Yeah, because
show that you're trustworthy, and
because
you're on top of
you're building momentum for the client. They're like, okay, I'm getting more comfortable. I'm actually going out and looking. So I think just slowly moving on.
So it's like, hey, sent you some homes. What do you think about them? Want to tour them? Or even like lending stuff, right? Like, hey, found this new loan program that might be good for you. Like, it can be anything, right? With follow up, there can be so many different ways to follow up.
Literally, it's like, hey, I'm gonna send you some stuff, pretty shortly.
Yeah.
And how about I give you a call on Wednesday just to check up on your thoughts, see what you and the wife think, and then if that looks good, then we can check them out Friday.
That's awesome.
And so
That's
it's like
really,
boom,
really
boom,
good.
boom. It's like to set up the next days. You're booking your schedule beforehand.
Nice. So would you say you pretty much mastered like the buyer side now, and are you transitioning to the listing side more?
Yeah, like I love working with buyers. It's amazing, it's especially with first time home buyers, like that's where it's like it really feels satisfying. Like really, because it's like it's the biggest journey ever, it's the first purchase of their life or their first home purchase. So I love that, but definitely want to get into the listing side buyers. It's a lot of going, showing, it can take a lot longer. I think the listing side is a little bit more laid back. It's a little bit less stressful. It's still stressful because, you got to get them, a great
We're
price.
competing for listings and all this kind of stuff. I feel like there's also stuff you can't control. Like even with your client, like life happens for people, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you can't control that. So, it's just setting a task, like you said, follow up with them down the line, building momentum, and just trying to go out there and find more new business.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, it's always, you can't. I think a lot of things agents do is like, oh yeah, I got this guy looking like that's for sure like a check for me, but it's like no, it's not like
nothing is ever for sure.
Nothing's guaranteed, man. You'll have clients who, they like you're actively looking for weeks, and then it's like, oh no, we decided not to until the summer. Things like that happen, but it's like, you at least have other at-bats that you're still working with, right? So you always have that momentum. You can never rely on, one person.
People's words or stuff like that, right?
Yeah, because that's when it becomes to a point where you're forcing it, right? Like, oh, I need this guy to buy.
Yeah.
So I can put food on my plate. It's like, that's when you get a little bit pushy.
More transactional and
stuff. You get way more transactional. Like, I know some agents are very pushy, very transactional. Like, literally, I can say this. I'm not throwing on there. Okay, so
got stories for days.
Yeah, I got stories for days. So, I picked up the Zillow call, met the client. She's super nice. Love the family. And I'm going into our CRM, and I see that she was working with an agent previously, right? And so, we got along pretty well because it turns out she used to work in the same office as my mom.
Oh wow.
Yeah, as a nurse.
Okay.
And so, we hit it off pretty well. We're cracking jokes, and then I was like, I had to ask you, like, what happened with this agent? It's none of my business, but I would still like to ask if you're comfortable telling me. And she told me that, like, she was just super pushy.
Oh wow.
Super pushy. Like, they were thinking about submitting an offer. Calls. Like, hey, are we gonna submit it? Like, super pushy.
Oh, that is pushy,
That's
man.
way too transactional.
That's way too transactional.
You're scaring them off. That's gross. It's over. Like, it's overwhelming.
It's a big decision, right? So
yeah, like let them think about it. Be there as a guidance. Like, hey, if you want to submit an offer, we can go through the process. I can show you what that looks like to get you more comfortable with it. Not just let's submit it. Like,
Nice. Awesome. The last thing I want to touch base with you on here, because I know we're running out of time, but I look at you as someone that new agents can learn a lot from, like someone that they can strive to be. What would you say is like the top 3 mistakes that you see with newer people, and how can they fix those?
Number 1, not showing up. What are you doing at home? If you're not working anywhere else, then why don't you show up? 2, I think putting the reps in, right? Make the calls constantly, follow up with clients, build momentum for yourself. And I think number 3 is Wait, so 1, 2. I'm thinking. I had a really good third one, man. I had a really good one.
Oh, you lost your train of thought?
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. So it's not showing up,
Mm-hmm.
not doing the reps, and I think 3 is just getting too comfortable.
Yeah.
Like I know some agents that will sit here for 8 hours, make like 2 calls.
Oh
Like
no.
like stop yapping and get to work.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
There you go.
third is stop yapping.
I love it. I love it. Awesome, man. Well, what's next for Rip Daman? What are some things you are working on this year?
This year, so I want to. My goal is 25
Nice.
transactions. I'm going pretty smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into a little bit of commercial.
Okay.
And then investment properties. So that's what's kind of next for me.
Awesome,
that I'm
man.
working on.
Yeah.
And then
Well, I can't wait to see, man, the rest of this year, what it's going to have in store for us, bro. Like, we're working on a lot of new things. I'm super, super excited. The journey
we're all
we've been on
crushing it
together the last couple of years and, the next couple of years for us, too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we're definitely going to do this again, Rip, down the line, right? And maybe we can compare.
Oh, yeah.
And see how
like, where are you
things
now
are going.
compared to that?
Right? By then, the production quality is going to be better, right? I'm just going to crank these out right now, but hopefully in the future, invest in a camera, better mics.
Yeah, no more iPhone camera.
Oh, yeah, no more iPhone camera, right?
Spoiler.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rip Daman. I appreciate you for coming
Sonny,
on, and we'll definitely do this again, all right?
All right, power up.